A very good morning, folks, and welcome to each and every one of you. Welcome to FYI. It is the end of the month. The dead end of the month is the 31st day of August. See you guys in September. We are happy that you folks are here with us this morning from the many places that you guys are joining us from. Good to see Evelina Whitaker. Annette Cummins is here with us. I see MacPherson family. The whole family is here. The MacPherson family. Good to have you guys here too. And Dolly Anderson. I know somebody from the MacPherson family took the liberty to put that there. So good morning to the MacPherson family. Dolly Anderson, Samoa Williams is here too. Good to have all of you folks on the live, as we say. Take the opportunity, folks, to share the live for us and smash that emoji button. We got quite a few things to share with you guys. So pull up a cup of something with us, pull up a chair as well, and join us at the breakfast table. Good to have you folks on board this morning. We're going to make sure that we send the live feed through to all of the valid and credible pages and places this morning. Good to see you folks. Hope you guys have had a good night. Do let us know how you guys are feeling. Smash that emoji button for us, Beryl Crawford and Dan Fordyce, Loretta Argyle. We want to know how you guys are doing this morning. Good to see each and every one of you there with us. We had a full night last evening after talking with the leader of the Alliance for Change, Kemraj Ramjatan. It was good talking to him. Full disclosure, you all know by now, yours truly, I'm the general secretary of that party. And I love my party too. But we welcomed Kemraj last evening and picked his brains on a number of matters, including what's happening with the sugar workers. And that's still available on our pages and our YouTube channel as well, where you guys are joining us from this morning. And we encourage you guys, if you missed it, you can go back and look at that interview with Kemraj. We picked his brain on the plight of the sugar workers and a lot of other issues too. But good to have you folks this morning on the live. Diane Fordyce, rock and come in wherever you guys are this morning. Sandra Ford, good to have you, Sandra. Loretta, as we said, and all the other guys. Smash that emoji button for us. I want to know how you guys are feeling out there today. What is the mood? What is the mood where you are? We're covering a number of things. What's happening with Irfan Ali? What's happening with him? I see they put a question to him again about engaging the leader of the opposition. And, you would think he'd get it right the second time, but the man is so arrogant, for the want of a better word. Arrogant. And I hope he goes back and he looks and he sees, he's saying one thing, but his actions, I'm a humble man, I'm approachable. The reporters themselves kind of ask you a question, right? You kind of jumping down their throats. Why aren't you all seeing, the kind of person I am? Why aren't you all giving me the kinds of accolades that I deserve? We can talk about that later on in the broadcast as well. Do let us know, folks, if you hear our audio loud and clear, all of the technicians who are joining this morning. Forbes Mendoza, good to have you here. June Cameron, Desiree Duncan is here as well. Family, of course. Family. Desiree, good to see you, wherever you're joining us from. Edward Brooms is here. I see we got, I see Lorraine Garnett is here as well. Folks, some of you realize are getting a little too comfortable in the people place, huh? Some of you are asking what me oversee my welcome. Y'all don't make that study. When they're ready to get rid of me, they will get rid of me. But good to see each and every one of you on the live this morning. I'm having some Japanese green tea. Checking to see how the Japanese do it. Having some Japanese green tea. What's in your cup this morning? What are you guys having? Your hot beverage. So we weren't going to ask what's in your cup. And Anthony, we take our politics very serious. Yolanda Thomas is here. Yolanda, good to see you on the live. Naomi Druckett is here as well. Naomi says she's hearing loud and clear from my new kitchen. Do send me the photographs. Let us be the judge. Right? Send us the photograph. Send us a little video, man, Naomi. Don't keep this kitchen to yourself. Brenda Moore is here as well. Camille Cox is here too. Good to see you, Camille. And Camille is doing a lot of work in Region 6 as a counselor there. Thank you for your service, Camille, and continue to press forward. Please and thank you. We couldn't do it in that area without you. Jabor Marcus, good to have you. Andrew Cuthbert, you are here as well. And all the other folks who are joining us. Vesta Hardy, Raj Kumar is here. You know who else is here, folks? You know who else is here? Tabitha. Tabitha is here, and Tabitha is going to be joining us on very short notice. As soon as Tabitha gives me the thumbs up that she is ready, women is going to take a little time with the makeup, powder the nose, and all manner of things. But Tabitha is going to be opening here, going to be opening shop here some mornings. She's going to be opening shop some mornings. So as soon as we get the thumbs up from Tabitha, we good to go. Right? So good to have all of you. In the meantime, we Tabitha joining us. Good to have all of you guys on the live. Evelina Whitaker, Orvin Don, you gone back yet, girl? Ask you. What asking me? You gone back yet? Brenda, Jennifer Bob, honestly, what? People don't run from good. That's the other why you know. People don't run from good. So Tabitha is making her way up the side. Orvin Don, Gil Ali Cock, Fidel. I will add Fidel. Fidel Albert, good to have you on the live as well. Forbes and Richard, welcome to the broadcast. We'll be on the live. That's how we say it colloquially. Good to have each and every one of you. I'm going to bring Tabitha now. Ready or not, here she comes. Ready or not, we are prepping to pull in Tabitha. Let me see if we have her. Do we have her? Make sure I get the good. Yeah, let me see now. Tabby, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. I want you to tilt that camera for us a little bit. So if you can, so we are shoulder to shoulder. That's how we do it. Equal rights and all. If you can. If you're going to disrupt you too much, maybe not.
You'll have to take me out for me to do that.
All right. I don't want to put you in the spot. All right. Tabitha is behind the scene. We can hear her audio, but we're going to see her back in a second. Good morning, Tabby, and all the other folks joining us. Good to have you all on the live. Guys, we look forward to starting the morning with you folks. A couple of things we got to share with you all. You're gonna realize there's never a dull moment in the 592. Never a dull moment. What are you guys having this morning? I said I got some Japanese tea here. Make sure I have the bananas for the banana lovers. I love a banana. You see, Naomi? Rock and come in. I love a banana. And we consume a lot of bananas here. Don't think it's the one thing here all the time, you know. I know some of you guys are. Let's take another try to see if we get Tabby at our level. Let's see if we take another one of that. All right, Tabby, you are looking good. I'll push that other screen downward if that is your laptop, maybe.
Okay.
Because we backwards, we're catching the back of it. Perfect.
There we go.
We can take that. Looking all stooshed up. Welcome, Tabby. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Awesome.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. Well, it's good to be here with you today.
And it's good to be here with you. If you do one more day, you've been with us all week long.
I'm trying to keep up with you, Cheryl. It's not always easy, but I'm trying to keep up with you.
I'm happy. I am very happy to have you here. Folks, if you're now joining us, share the live. Don't keep it to yourself. We had a lot of folks on the live last night, but it wasn't reflected in the shares because I know some of you get caught up in the conversation. You get caught up in the information, and you get immobile for some reason. So as we start this morning, we say share the live, folks, and we have quite a number of things we want to talk to you guys. Tappy.
How are you? I just want to say good morning again. I'm a bit late. A lot happening on my end, and so I wasn't as early as I should have been, but I'm here. Hope you guys had a good day yesterday. And yes, I tried to follow what you had on last night. A lot's going on here in Guyana too. So we'll get into some of that today. And wishing everybody the best. Because of my lateness too, Sharon, I wasn't able to get a hot cup of tea, so I just have regular water.
Maybe tea comes to meet you this morning. Just maybe. Maybe tea is going to come to meet you. You just never know.
Oh my goodness.
But as Tabitha says, welcome to all. We're happy to have all of you folks on the live this morning. When I see all those books behind Tabitha, I get a little intimidated. I get a little intimidated. Folks, it's not encouragement for us to pick up on our reading. We always talk about that. The importance of a good book. Good music, good food,
and good reading.
Yeah. Pick up on the reading, especially well, we've come to the end of summer. Well, the Guyanese summer is the 31st day of August. And so Tabby, I'll see you in September.
Uh, uh,
See you in September.
when
Um,
you come back, yes, I'll see you.
So, folks, we got a couple of things we want to talk to you guys about. Lots happening in the morning papers, whether it's internationally, it's regionally, or it's in the 592. Quite a few things happening. And why not let us start, Tabby, with what's happening in Gabon? That coup yesterday. By evening, I heard lots of commentators saying this is here to stay because any government has a very short time, duly elected, installed, or otherwise, you have a very short time to repel that kind of activity. And as evening was setting in there in Gabon, I saw lots of commentators across the globe who were saying, all right, we're in for the long haul now. Let's see what happens. And I see lots of them also referring to the last administration there as the last administration, the former president, the former
Oh,
administration, as the dust was settling on the coup yesterday in Gabon.
yes, I saw that the president was in a room asking for help. And I don't know if you saw that
Yeah,
image as well.
we
So
did.
yes, it looks as if it is permanent, and I think also, and I was reading up a little bit more about what is happening there, and it appears as though the people wanted a change. And so they seem to appreciate what was done. So if once it is that the people are, you don't always say coups are good, because that is a way in which you normally deal with if you're in a democratic society. You go to an
Correct.
elections and you hope that the election system functions efficiently and functions fairly. But if the people realize that even at the elections level that it's unfair, then the people, as in Gabon, would take matters into their own hands. It's not what you would oftentimes ask for or suggest, but sometimes people feel that that is the last resort, and that's what happened in Gabon there. So this is the view and the interest of the people on the ground, well, kudos to them. Hopefully that they're moving forward. They can have a stable government and a stable governance structure that will see everybody getting a fair share of what is happening there in Gabon.
Correct is right. And as you said, Tabi, we saw lots of persons celebrating the army's ouster of the president there in Gabon. And in many quarters, they were given a hero's welcome. Even parts of the army we saw also very, very celebratory there. I know Tabby's still adjusting things at her end. As soon as she's ready to come back, we're going to put her back in the field. So we saw folks, even large swaths of the armed forces celebrating this ouster of the president of Gabon, who suffered a massive stroke a short while ago. I think it was a year ago or two. A massive stroke, was more or less absent for about a year, and then came back. Um, and so the army in lots of areas in Gabon was received as heroes
Yes,
yesterday. But
yes,
not
that,
only
that
is that happening, lots of leaders in that region too are very, very worried. Tabby.
yeah, because once something happens in a country, then there's a worry that it will have a ripple effect, and so other countries will be concerned, especially if they have the same governance structure as the former president. If they were governing the country in a way that, and they know that the people are not happy, then there's cause for concern. You see, when the people are content and know that the system is working, then there's there's not usually a lot of cause for concern, because you know that you are doing what is required, and you're listening to your people, and you're responding to the needs of the people. Then once that is happening, then there's no need for concern. But the fact that there is concern, then things may not be what is being portrayed. Sometimes on the media, what you say is different from how it is that people on the ground feel about how it is you're governing the country.
Correct. And the good book says, when the wicked perish, their shouts of joy. Um, and maybe that's some of what we're seeing yesterday, because we've learned since then. Before we get there, there's such eerie similarities with Gabon and us. You know, um, the PPP has ruled for a very long time prior to this dispensation. They've probably racked up now about 25 years in governance. If you add the last iteration of the governance to the last 3 years, you have that. One, they talk about Gabon being an oil producer and one of the leading oil producers in that region. You have the uh, Gabon having one of the highest GDP, one of the highest GDPs in that region as well. But a
Yeah.
lot of people, in the majority, live in poverty in Gabon. So they got some eerie
Some
similarities
eerie
that we see.
similarities, and even here in Guyana, those are some of the concerns that a lot of persons have as to how it is you ensure that whatever the economy is showing is not just in numbers alone, but it's actually having a positive effect on the entire population. Because if it doesn't, then you would see persons responding negatively,
Uh-huh.
to the fact that they seem marginalized or discriminated, or just not getting their equal share to the patrimony of the country. And so that is always a concern of people. And it is, you sometimes, oh my goodness,
Run ahead, Tabby.
it sometimes you think that when especially in the opposition and even those independent have conversations and they make these statements, the BP respond as if we don't know what we're talking about, and there's no issue at all as well. But the reality is, and history has shown, and history is showing here in Gabon, that when things are not working for the people, at some point or the other, the people would say that enough is enough. And then when they respond, then they're going to say, oh my, I didn't know that this was going to be the response of the people, because you think that you're doing enough. And I'm hoping that they pay attention to what is happening here and recognize that if it is that they're not going to take the necessary actions to ensure that all the people are equally a part of what is happening, then this is the likely outcome.
Correct. The fellow who led this coup is said to be a cousin to the outgoing president, another phrase receiving used a lot. And he was head of the presidential guard there in Gabon, and has managed to at least the majority of the armed forces have supported this ouster. But as we said, a lot of other um, leaders in the region are waking up very worried, because they're saying this is the 10th, I think, coup of a francophone country there in that region. Cameroon, for instance, had a reshuffle recently. That's part of what we're hearing in that region there. Their president has been in since 1982, and he is 90 years old. Paul, I think it's Bia, 90 years old.
Yes.
He's been in power since 1982. He has had a reshuffle quite recently. There's another country that we're watching at as well. This is Rwanda. Paul, Paul Kagame there. Sorry,
Kagame,
in
yes.
Rwanda. I'm distracted by some other stuff happening here. Apologies. And there were some changes there too that we saw and that we're monitoring happening. He has been in for a little while too. People have lots of charges against him, autocracy, and all of those kinds of things. Nigeria, as well, we are watching this morning because they got some issues there too. This party has been in for, even though they've been a change in leadership quite recently in an election, this party has been in for some time. And because of this coup in Gabon yesterday, their president is now saying, be loyal or leave. This is Bola Tinubu.
Sharon, as you speak, you know what is coming to mind? I don't know the 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 lineage of these presidents in these different countries as to where the lineage come from. But as you speak, and I'm hearing the number of years they've been in as president or head of the country, I wonder why they didn't make the transition as England did. You see, England recognized that the people wanted something more, but they still needed to have a king or a queen. And so what they did was to divide it. So there is still a king and queen of the country, but then there is still a democratic process where you run in for prime minister of the country. And so you have that democratic process that is a part of the entire English system. And so I'm wondering whether in the African countries, whether that might not be an alternative. Where if it is that they come from royal lineage, I'm not sure. I have never checked there to see what their lineage is like. Or maybe that may be an approach because they seem to want to stay there forever. but but the people want a democratic process, so you find a way to have both, and so the people are happy and you're happy as well. I'm not sure if that would work out, but I was just thinking.
Yeah. So we got and it's not just these countries, whether it's Paul Biya in Cameroon, it's Paul Kagame in Rwanda, or it is Bola to Nabu in Nigeria. But I think lots of people, lots of leaders are waking up very worried this morning because people are taking nonsense now, People are sitting down with no cross on the back for no amount of years. People want advancement. The whole world is moving on. The whole world is moving on. So people are looking.
Yes, and it's not even the whole world, Sharon. It's what is happening right in the country. Because if you look out your window and everybody is riding a bicycle, then all you know is bicycle. But if you look out your window and you see a Rolls Royce driving by, or you see a Lamborghini driving by, then you know that there are ways in which you should be able to also get opportunities in which you could also get access to that same thing. And so that is where it is, because if you go to a lot of these countries, there are parts of the countries that are very developed as in the first world. So it's not a case that they're looking and seeing it on TVs, that they open their eyes and look through the window and they're seeing people having a very good life and they can't. And so once that is happening, especially in your own surroundings, that is where a lot of the issues will come. Because if everybody realizes, well, the country is doing badly and we're all doing badly together, then we're all in this thing together. But if the president is having a lovely time and his wife and his children and his friends and family, and the rest of us have to try to eke out a living or eke out an existence, that is where a lot of the problems come.
Friends, family, favorites. And Cameron added another flatterers,
Yes, I heard that last night. Flatterers.
So that's happening, folks, there on the African continent. And I think Lord Acton years ago was correct that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. They come in with good intention, they taste the sweet of it, and then people cuss down the Burnham 1980 Constitution, then they come in and they want to change nothing.
Yes, I actually was writing a piece on this whole idea of democracy, because it is an idea, right? It's an idea. It's not something it's an idea that people have to buy into. And you have to buy into it in a way that no matter what is happening, and that is one of the reasons I really appreciate Kemrat Ramkitan. Sometimes to a fault. He believes in democracy, and what it means is that wherever it goes, it takes you understand that is the core of what it is that you're functioning with, and so you make your decisions based on that. But if it is that you don't have a core belief in democracy, whatever your core belief is what will guide you. And so yes, you may end up in power, but power corrupts if it is that you have not had a foundation and an understanding and an ideology that is guiding what it is that you're doing in and out of power, once it is that you're in any leadership position. And so that is where we find ourselves, not only in Guyana, but a lot of countries across the world, where they are battling with this idea of democracy because it was being sold to them for a long time. Some persons have pretended to take it on, and other persons have actually believed in it. And those who pretended to take it on, when they get into power, you see another aspect, which is that they only pretended to do so, and they don't actually believe in the ideas and the ideals of democracy.
Correct is right. Let's turn our attention, Tabby, and viewers, to some of the stuff we're following closer. As the world heads in a very technologically advanced place, we got so much to look out for. In Trinidad, they had a raid recently, and they found what they call ghost guns, 3D printed guns. These guns here aren't easily detected by a metal detector because they aren't made from metal, right? So they got another war on their hands, right? 3D printed. You're gonna bring this over the border. All you can bring over is the printer, right? And you can almost print anything. I see the Chinese printing whole buildings now. Right? That is the technological age under which we live, and you see why we gotta retrade and retool, because while you only thinking about hammer and nail, the world has gone on. The world has gone on. I was going over a beautiful bridge here, and on closer examination, I realized it's over a very, very wide river, or whatever they want to call it, stream, or whatever they want to call it. But as I examined it closer, Tabby, I realized that what I thought was boards at the bottom is actually plastic. A very it seems sturdy, right? But we're accustomed to be concrete, or you
You're
would look
having
like.
you're having second thoughts as you're
I
going over
have
the
lots,
picture.
lots of second thoughts. That's what the Trinidadians got in their hands now, 3D printed guns, and a lot of them too.
So I'm wondering, is it that the guns work, or is it that they're able to use it to scare people, or
These
to
guns
scare people?
actually work, right? 3D
Wow.
printed guns actually work. But of course, they aren't made of your traditional metal.
Yes, and
It's
so they're
easy to
not as
detect it.
easily detected. Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Yep.
That is this is the first time I'm hearing. I know that they have the 3D printers, and of course, once you have a 3D printer, then you can print anything. But this is the first time I'm hearing of a gun. But it makes sense, anything that is technology is that can use for good. Somebody always have a way of making it for their own agenda. And so these guns here now are something else that you have to now find ways of being able to detect. Because if you can't detect them, then when you can carry them through the airports now, I'm guessing, and
Yeah.
through in your luggage and stuff like that, and that is something that is worrying. So I know
Tabby,
you now have to take new measures.
here what the authority in Trinidad said. A quantity of firearms, ammunitions, projectiles, and a 3D printer and a computer system were seized during this operation. The police described the ghost guns as firearms that can be produced that can be produced using readily available 3D printing technology, making it challenging for traditional firearm control measures to detect and prevent their production. They can be manufactured without serial numbers or other identifying marks, making them difficult to trace and regulate.
Wow.
This is the area in which
Well,
we live.
it's a new kid on the block, so to speak. So you'd have to find a way to deal with that. Can you tell somebody not to bring in a 3D printer?
Yeah, yeah.
How
Again,
do you deal with that?
Tabby, as we would say, it is not the thing of itself; it's the usage,
Is the usage
right?
of it?
And it's the bad usage that the technologies are being put to that causes the problem. That's
Yeah.
the trouble that we have. Moving on, folks. In the
That's a
5 9
difficult
show,
one.
never dull moment. One people, one nation, one destiny. Or if your preference is one Guyana, we may got to replace all to it. Never dull moment. Folks, welcome to the broadcast. Those of you who are joining us now, share the like, smash that emoji button. Wherever you're coming in from, we gotta look very closely at these kinds of industrial quote unquote accidents that we're seeing. We were talking just last evening on our program about a teenager who was caught up in a mining pit, collapsed.
Yeah.
Now, he was under all of this, what do you call it, soil and debris and mud and whatever else is there for more than a day before they found him. This is a place called Kaupen Back Dam, Puruni River in Region 8, and the victim has been identified as Anthony Richard. Right? Now, I understand we live in a culture where people want to maximize the profits. They don't really care, but you like hustling because we got to make a bread. Safety and so on goes out the window. And while we focus on that last evening, we also learned yesterday at a construction site, there was another death when a young man fell off of a scaffolding. He is Hubbard Josiah, known as Boyo, fell off. Because again, safety is not at the forefront of our thinking. It's maximization of profits and making a bread. Making a bread.
You see, yeah. You see, Sherrod, and that is I'm going to use some terms. So there's capitalism, which is what you're talking about in terms of just maximizing a profit. But then there needs to be the regulation, and that is the job of the administration. So the administration has a right, their responsibility, not a right, their responsibility is to ensure that the safety measures are in place. And so what they need to be doing is going out to all of these sites that they would have won. If the Ministry of Natural Resources have signed off on somebody being able to mine a particular area, the Ministry of Labor should be informed of that and have somebody on the ground to ensure that all of the necessary precautions are being taken and they're wearing whatever safety gears they need to wear. And the safety is also part of the process. If somebody is building something, the Ministry of Labor has to also ensure that they're sending persons there to ensure that everything that has to do with occupational safety is actually being catered to. So yes, there's the part of the whoever it is that owns the mining operation or owns the building that is being built, their mindset is they want to figure out how to do this thing as quickly as possible. But there's a responsibility on the administration to ensure that all of the necessary precautionary systems are in place to ensure that the workers are safe under all of these conditions. And that, I think, is what is lacking, because we can't always depend on the owner for obvious reasons, as you suggest, to do what is right. And so that is where the safeguards have to come from the administration. And so the question is, what is the Ministry of Labor doing in all of these instances?
Yep. Our thoughts and prayers, of course, are with those families and with the family also of a big uncle who was found murdered in the area of the Lusignan Golf Course. I think he was a security officer there. And that's one of the things that police are investigating this morning. This is Dulchan Dani, 57 years old security guard attached, as I said, to the Lusignan Golf Course on the East Coast. And they're investigating, of course, the circumstances surrounding his death.
Condolences to his family.
Yep. And we always talk about the how we don't value human life in this country.
Yeah, it's...
we don't value human life. And while that is happening at that end, one young man, Tabitha, viewers, is trying to clear his name this morning because he said that he is being fingered in some things that he don't know anything about. Right? He's being accused of being involved in some activities that he don't know anything about. And he is trying to clear his name. He said the thing is so it is so worrisome now because of the allegations that are being made during Cameron and Carol and Beatrice and Joy. He said he has lost his job, Tabby. Now, here the predicament he is in. He said he was going home quite recently. He went to he couldn't hold his bowels and went to relieve himself in an alleyway somewhere in the city. Right? He said he couldn't hold it in. Right? No sooner is he about to do what he went to do there, he said somebody runs out of a taxi and started videoing him and making a whole host of allegations. Right? We're picking this up from HGP-TV Nightly News, and in particular, our friend and brother Travis Chase. Right? And folks, you don't want to hear what the accusations are concerning. Take a look and take a listen. I'd love to have Tabby's intervention on the other side.
You may not, man.
Watch it.
Watch your face.
Watch it.
Big regular boy like you. Early man, you know type. Watch it bike.
Hey yo, we get the number.
CJ.
Facebook.
TikTok. Pull up your face. I want to see
Yeah,
face, man. Big regular boy like you.
Watch him. Yeah, watch him. Watch him.
On Monday morning, around 3 something, I left the club. We got location breakdown. We got on defecate. After I went to the location was locked up. I tried head home. Which is on why it's coming on King Street through the Bronx region between region and Rab. There was an alley right there. I stopped to back and back to stop. Went through with defecate and security a bike car pull up. A guy come out, walk and cross in between there, take out the phone and video me say I went and prefer anti-man, I want anti-man. And there was none of us that. So the place was in darkness. The location breakdown was dark.
It's dark, huh?
So I end up us coming through, right and go up the limo and turn to King Street for head home. When we reach on in Jump Rab Street, Regent Street, between Regent and Rab, you had a alley on the right hand side. I turned back my bike, so I parked my bike in front. I went in with the ticket. When I stood down, the vehicle pull up. So I pull up in pan and get to back. The man come inside the alley and see me and check it for with me. Or I went and free anti-man, I want anti-man, and decided to do body man and all this ignorance. So I take me just and show up head, avoid the same social media ignorance. And come out there, reach outside, telling anti-man pull off me jersey, off me head.
So, you did not went to...
Free no anti-man.
Okay, and that is not something you usually do?
No. I don't free anti-man nothing.
Okay, I understand that you lost your job because of this.
Yes. I was laid off yesterday due to the same video that's been published.
You have no problem with this interview being uploaded to social media so that your name can be cleared?
No, yes, we don't have no problem. I need to be clear.
So
I like the police to take to court because this without me permission, you video me and then post it and talking to the ignorance. And
the initial task that you went into that dark corner to do, you completed it?
no. I think I got no.
So you had to run out?
After he come through, I just pull up my pan and I come outside.
Folks, Travis Chase, journalist, always in some tight places, and bringing us these interviews. Hard at work. There you have it. There you have it, folks. Tabitha, man is trying to clear his name. He's lost his job.
Sharon. Okay. I don't understand why Sharon is laughing. On a serious note, though, I'm listening to his. I don't know whether the story is true, false, or it's not. Why what I'm going to comment on. My issue here is this use of the social media. And that is what we were talking about a couple of days ago. In terms of people deciding to upload these malicious things about people to tarnish people's character, people's name. Whatever he was doing in that alleyway, that is him, God, and whoever it is, whatever that is. But the issue is that why it is that the onus is on the individual to decide that they need to video record him, and now he's lost his job, and it's not a case that he was doing anything illegal. He was not hurting anybody. I thought he was they were going to say that he committed some crime, or he was about to rob somebody, or he was about to jump a fence and do something. I was expecting to hear the allegation pertaining to something like that, but the fact that they're going to, anybody can do that. You can see somebody walking into a dark corner anywhere and decide you're recording them and then paint your own image of what they were doing, and then their whole life is out of order because of some image going around on social media. I think that is what Guyanese need to just to take a pause on it. I understand the need to go viral and the need to want to show up somebody, whatever the case is, but we need to take stock of how it is that we're hurting other people when it is we do these things and we don't know the type of effect it would have on others. And sometimes it's always good and fair and nice in the joke of the thing, but at the end of the day, it's people's lives that you're dealing with. We don't know how this young man is going to respond to all of these allegations. he said they're not true.
He said he's
His
lost his
family,
job as a result.
he's lost his job. So if he has a family, he now can no longer earn to be able to provide for his family. And it's because some young men decided that they needed to have a fun and a game over whatever he may be doing in that alleyway. And I think is the issue more than whatever he may. They have to figure and clear his name on that part. And I think we need to take stock of this whole thing of wanting to video everything and try to tarnish people's character for absolutely no reason. There's one thing if you see somebody's in a shop and they're stealing something and you put that up because they would have done something wrong. But this sort of thing, I think, is just uncalled for.
Yeah, I hear you there, Tabby. I hear you there, and I see the comments are asking why did he have to lose his job? Yeah,
Exactly.
interesting.
I'm trying to understand what the job has to do with the video. The video, I'm trying to on the whole everything just seems so weird.
Yeah, not a good segue, but Irfan Ali versus Sarah Ann Lynch. As you know, the U.S. ambassador to Guyana has been making her exit about a year and a half now. She's had many interviews and she's paid many courtesy calls in the vein of departing, having come to the end of her tour in Guyana. And she sat down with journalist Gordon Mosley quite recently. One of the things they talked about was the government and opposition engaging each other. And she said that what prefaced this is her saying that, we were heading towards inclusivity and all of that. And that the U.S. stood ready to help in that process to bring opposition and government to the dialogue table. I want us to take a listen to that insert, and there's been some developments since that time. Take a listen to some of what she said on that note. Do we have it? Let me see. Let me make sure. We might have run ahead of ourselves in just a little bit. But Tabitha, that was a general sense of what she was talking about, inclusivity and the parties talking to each other. Your thoughts?
Was this on Gordon Mosley's show? Or?
Correct.
Okay, yes, I listened to that, and of course, Irfan is saying that Aubrey has to, the leader of the opposition, has to first go to God and something about sins and what's not before they can have a conversation. Here's the reality. I remember probably a year or so ago, a report came out, and the report basically said, it was from the US, one of the US agencies, which basically said that there needs to be a shifting towards some form of shared governance. And that comes with the word inclusivity and all of that, because it's a recognition by the United States that based on the structure of our society, based on the division that is in our society at the level of the people and on the level of our politics, that something more is necessary for us to be able to move our country forward. And I agree that there needs to be some form of inclusivity, whether or not the Americans need to be helping the process is a different question. Who needs to be a part of that process? I would prefer us doing it somewhere in the Caribbean, where we have one of our CARICOM brothers or sisters coming to help us engage in that process before going further afield. I think we have the ability, either in-house or in the region, to be able to bring people to the table and have those discussions as to the way forward. I think the PPP knows that at some point it has to come to that, but at this point in time, I'm not sure between Irfan Ali, the president, and Jagdio, whoever is the president or vice president in this particular matter, how it is they're going to move forward with this particular issue, because it's obvious what the US is suggesting, but it's obvious that they are hoping that by 2025, they can get enough persons from what they deem the opposition camp voting for them, so they can show the world that there is no issue, and there can be persons from all ethnic groups voting for them. But I'm not sure if it is that you have the, if we're going to be talking about what happened at the Tishaus Council, because the reality is that even in the indigenous communities now, you're seeing persons a lot more vocal, because a lot more councils have come out and say that they would like the government to look at this issue with the Chinese landing a lot more seriously. So their idea in Irfan's head that everybody is coming together nicely and the foundations are going towards them is not really the reality on the ground. And so we'll see whether or not at the end of the day they would recognize that the only way forward for the country is some form of inclusion where you deal with the leadership of the people that the people have chosen for themselves to sit around the table and have a discussion as to how it is we're going to take this nation forward.
Correct. And Tabby, here is that exchange with journalist Gordon Mosley and the American ambassador on local parties, in particular the PNC and the PP, speaking to each other.
But you know what? Many of them are talking. They're not talking to each other. They may be talking about each other. So do you see a role for the U.S. To sort of brokerage discussions between these key players? Because on one side, you're talking one Guyana. On the other side, you're talking about discrimination in one Guyana and parts of Guyana not getting a fair share of the economic bloom that we're seeing. So do you see a role for the U.S. in brokeraging discussions between them?
The U.S. stands ready to help in that role, for sure. I think open dialogue, frank discussions are very important. And I think bringing the people together is key to the success, the ultimate success of Guyana. So certainly the U.S. stands ready to do whatever we can to bring all parties together.
Yeah, so as I said, there have been some developments since that time, one of which we told you of. This is Demwara Waves Dennis Chabral engaging Ali on the same point, whether he would make the first step towards engaging the leader of the opposition, in this recent dispensation. For those of you who might have missed that, there's another development since that. But those of you who missed that engagement with Dennis Chabral and Irfan Ali, here is that piece.
To determine my agenda. My work with the opposition is my work with every area conceived or perceived to be an opposition area. That is why I will go to every community and I'll meet the people directly. I'll win from bottom up. I will embrace from bottom up. If the top doesn't want to embrace, the bottom is embracing beautifully. And that is what I want. I want the bottom shift. Any foundation that shifts, the top will have to shift. And the power of the bottom, the power of the people at the grassroots, the power of that foundation is shifting. And that shift would eventually cause those even though don't want to shake hands properly.
But there are your diehards who will not shift unless the leaders decided they should shift.
That is moving rapidly. I can assure you, it is shifting with beauty and grace.
What stops you from reaching out to the opposition leader directly and say, "Sir, let's talk"?
Why is there something stop me? What stopped him from reaching out?
What stops you too?
I reach out. The man refused to shake my hand twice. What you want me to do? Bow before him? He's God?
That's the only thing you can do in terms
of... The opposition leader is not God. The first thing you must know, the first thing you must do...
Neither of you is.
No, I'm not. That is why I reached out humbly trying to shake his hands and he refused. I tried humbly, Chabral, to shake his hand and he refused.
But that's the only mechanism.
Oh my God. If you can't shake the hands of a humble man, what else would you do? Furthermore, let me tell you something. Let me give you another example of reaching out and what reaching out constitutes. I consult with you and you go to the court to stop the consultation. I consult with you and you go to the court to stop the consultation. Let me give you a third example. Here's the third example. You're a follower of the Bible?
Yeah.
What's the first thing you have to do? Not confess your sins?
Yes.
All I'm asking him to do is confess his sins, and his sins of trying to rig the elections. Oh, is that too difficult? Confess thy sins.
Yeah, so that is, again, Irfan's Ali engagement with Demwara Waves Dennis Chabral. Confess his sins. Norton has to confess that he tried to rig an election. That is what he's saying there. But since that time, Gordon Mosley also engaged him, perhaps for some clarity on all of what you heard there amid his theatrics And this was his response, Tabitha, to that engagement by journalist Gordon Mosley. Take a look, take a listen.
And she was saying she's open to U.S. government conversation and talks between the government and the opposition. Is that something you would be part of if the U.S. were to step in and sort of get a conversation going?
I don't know why there need to be brokerage of any conversation. I don't know that I need someone to broker a conversation with the opposition. We are a country here and we have responsibility. As President of Guyana, I have a responsibility for the people of Guyana, all the people of Guyana, including the leader of the opposition. And I take the responsibility for all the people of Guyana, including the leader of the opposition, very seriously. I will continue to fulfill my mandate as is expected of me in line with the Constitution and the rule of law. That you can be guaranteed of. Whatever it requires of me in the execution of my duty to fulfill my responsibility in keeping with the Constitution, my lifeblood would ensure that occurs. My engagement with the people of Guyana does not rest in an individual or in an office. My engagement with the opposition is with every single person. And you know what is funny? Many members of the opposition will call me on a daily basis and will engage in very meaningful discussion. And many of them will say to me that we wish if this was the approach in an overarching way. But I will say to them, as I say to every Guyanese, that my engagement with them as individuals, as collective, with the people of Guyana, is not dependent on an individual. I will execute whatever is required of me in the Constitution, in consultation with everyone the Constitution requires me to. But the leader of the opposition attitude and his demeanor towards me would not in any way, shape or form influence my attitude to the people of Guyana.
What is the government stalling these talks? Because when Mr. Harman was opposition leader, you had a problem then. Now there's another opposition leader, and there's still no conversations happening.
No. Mostly you're being grossly inaccurate and very convenient.
No, but that's what's happening.
You're being very grossly inaccurate
That's not
and
true.
very convenient. I'll tell you how.
Good as a soundbite, but it's not true.
No, you're my friend, and I'll tell you. And you will remain my friend after this too, long after this. You are being grossly inaccurate and inconvenient.
In terms of what?
I'll tell you now. I have engaged the leader of the opposition on every issue I had to engage him with. The leader of the opposition went to court to stop the consultation on specific constitutional matters. You're aware of this. That's one example. The leader of the opposition went to court to stop the consultation on specific constitutional matters. And the court had to rule on those matters. Secondly, this is a leader of the opposition who does not even have the basic decency to shake the hands of the president. Not once, not twice. I shake their hands and embrace people in my government who sought to prosecute me. Because my interest is in Guyana and the Guyanese people. My interest is not in an individual. And we must not be inconvenient. We must together be able to call a spade a spade. We must be able to call a spade a spade. This is a man who tried to stop consultation by going to court, who refused to shake the president's hand. This is a man who cannot find it convenient to apologize for this country for trying to rig an election. This is a man that was part of a process that tried to derail democracy and put our country in a very, very negative light globally. And here is a president who is working to regain international trust and position our country to be one of the leaders in the world. So we cannot be inconvenient. But if the leader of the opposition comes here in front of me now, again I will stretch my hands to shake his hands and we'll see his action.
Mr. President, is there an additional role probably to try to break the ice, as the common man would say, in the interest of the national good?
There is no ice. I don't know why we're making something out of this.
He's an elected representative.
The leader of the opposition, the leader of the opposition can pick up the phone tomorrow and call me and I'll answer him. The leader of the opposition can pick up the phone tomorrow and ask me, how are you doing? Mr. President, I will say, my friend Norton, how are you?
And if he says, let's meet.
Did I ever do anything to avoid meeting the leader of the opposition? If I come over to you and shake your hands, and you refuse to shake my hand, you're telling me that, listen, I want nothing to do with you? Or is my hand too filthy? I know what my hand is. I know what my hand is.
Why not try?
My hand is ready for prayer. Try what?
Another time.
Try another time what? To shake his hands?
To formally write them and invite them.
No, I don't have to formally write someone to talk to them. I talk to every single guy in here.
As the elected representative.
Oh, he doesn't have a responsibility. He doesn't have a responsibility. I just said to you, the leader of the opposition can pick up the phone tomorrow and call me, and I will speak to him. And you're now putting back that burden on me again. I tried twice to shake the man's hands and he refused. Now you're telling me I must try again. Why he can't try? No, because it's inconvenient for a narrative for him to try. The convenient narrative is that the president is not meeting. That is the convenient narrative. It is inconvenient for the truth, which is the leader of the opposition have no interest in meeting with the president. That narrative is too inconvenient for some to carry. Thank you. When he was leader of the opposition, and even now, you can ask if every time they try to engage, every time he reach out, engagement is not in the public domain. Engagement is about building relationship. Engagement is about nurturing relationship. Engagement is about building trust. And you can find out every time, every single time there was a request or there was a call, whether I did not take the call and whether there was not engagement. There was always engagement on development issue. And Harman always called, as leader of the opposition, he would call an important development issue. And we would exchange ideas. Engagement is not only a public spectacle. Engagement is how you build that relationship, how you build that trust, how you nurture that trust. And that is what is critical. If you can't shake hands, how can you nurture trust? Here is a president who is willing to go beyond you trying to keep him out of office by undemocratic means. You trying to keep him in office by breaking the rule of law. Going beyond that to try to shake your hands and you refuse. What kind of person are you? What kind of being are you to do that?
Not hearing you, Sherrod.
I was only saying, obviously, very, very hurt by not having his hands shaken, you know, and lots of untruths there, lots of blatant lies, as a matter of fact, in that piece there. Yeah.
Yes, and that is what I want to start off with. This idea that the leader of the opposition went to court to stop the consultation, or I think it is so inaccurate. And if you're going to start off your response to a question with a lie, it shows where it is that you are going, because either you don't understand what the issue was at that particular point, or you're purposely trying to paint a picture that is quite false. And as far as I can remember, the leader of the opposition was basically saying that he did not feel that the consultation went the way it should have gone. And so there were some issues in how the president went forward with the appointments of some of the persons on some commissions. And so that is what was taken to court, not the fact that there was some form of a consultation, but the way in which the consultation took place, whether or not it followed the guidelines of the Constitution. And I think if the leader of the opposition felt as if there was some issue with that, then it is right to take it to the court. But to say that the leader of the opposition basically, after consultation, went to court to say, I think it's just that alone to me says that there was some issue in terms of Irfan's understanding of the issue, or that he wanted just to paint a falsehood, to paint a broader picture of the opposition leader and the opposition in general that is quite inaccurate. Now, as I said, I think yesterday, I think it was yesterday before yesterday, about the Irfan Ali as president, understanding his role as president, understanding his position as president, understanding his office as president, and the fact that he has to take certain steps as the president. Yes, the former opposition leader may have called him to iron out some stuff, because there may have been a relationship even before they got into those particular positions, and so there was that relationship that may have continued. But the reality is, as the president of the country and as the office of the leader of the opposition, you also have to be seen to be doing certain things, not just picking up a phone call and then pretending in public as if you don't like me or whatever the case is. It's a case of you have to be showing, one, the leader of the opposition has a responsibility to his constituents. And so they are also guiding how he responds to you. And so as the president, you have to understand that and know how it is you approach a particular situation. So now to paint yourself as you are the Mahatma Gandhi in this entire situation, and everybody must corral based on how it is you believe that they should, I think is very disingenuous. And I think the president has a lot to learn.
Yep. And is this whole methodology that he has of trying to beat the press over their heads, why, or its head, why aren't you guys seeing, the kind of president I am, the big leader that I am? Why aren't you seeing that? Why are you asking me? Why aren't you asking Norton? Why isn't he reaching out? Failing to see that he holds the highest office in the land, and it's incumbent on him.
Exactly.
To make the first move. It's incumbent on him. And I didn't hear the amount of times he called Joe Harmon when Harmon held high office.
Exactly. And you see, it is an understanding. Let me say, it's a perception of your role as president. Remember, there's president and there's king. President, you're a servant of the people. And so you have to always be stretching out your hand. You have to always be the one to be making the approach, making the overtures to persons, and let people know that you're willing and you're available and you're ready to have conversation, because that is your role. But he doesn't get it. He thinks everybody's supposed to bow down at him because he's president of something, even though people in his own party don't seem to think he's in charge.
Correct is right. The other thing I want us to touch on is this notion of rigged elections. Now, the U.S. on January 6th, I think it was 2021, had an insurrection, right? Widely viewed as an insurrection. People were failing to accept the result of the American electoral system there and the will of the people. Since that time, several persons have not only been prosecuted, they've been convicted. And that is an ongoing saga in the American democratic system here. But when you look on the other side, here's Irfan Ali. He's playing to his base there. Rigged elections, Norton, rigged elections, Norton, rigged elections. 3 years in, they couldn't find a court in Guyana. All the people they've hauled before the judicial system to convict one person of electoral fraud. All this evidence they claim that they have of rigged elections. And they keep repeating this thing. We understand why. Rigged election, rigged election. Why? In 3 years, the average citizen has to ask. You couldn't find one court, one magistrate's court, the high court, or any court in Guyana, Court of Appeal, CCJ, to have one conviction of one person for all this rigging.
And I think that question, Sherrod, I think the next time he raises it, a journalist should ask him that particular question. I think it would really off-balance him. Because if it is that you're going to keep pushing this particular line, then the systems and the institutions that you believe are working should be able to show what it is that you're saying after 3 years. And so the reality is that they have to use that particular line to try and keep their base of this whole thing of rigged elections that has been there 28 years and now it continues. So that is a particular line that they have to take. They can take it, but the reality is that the people can't eat. The reality is that the people can't find jobs. The reality is that the indigenous people in their communities are fighting against some persons who shouldn't be mining on their land, and the president is not responding in a positive manner. That is the reality of people today. not what happened in 2020. And in spite of all that, people are saying that, okay, rigged elections or not, what are you doing about the fact that I can't eat today? What are you doing about the fact that I can't survive in this country based on the cost of living, based on everything that you seem to think is going right, but seems to be going so wrong in my personal and individual life? And I think those are the questions that need to be answered.
Yep. Things are shifting, he says, with beauty and grace. You know, perhaps we have to wait for it. Things are shifting with beauty and grace. Folks, I think that's going to do it for us this morning. We've gone a little over our scheduled time. But good to have you guys around the table in this discussion. Michelle Garnett, Elizabeth Narine, South Carolina. Orbit Baker is on the live too. Ariel Hector, Naomi Drucker. No, Tabby don't see this. You know, Tabby got to get proper computer. You see comments. I notice you've been advertising for Elgato. Feigning that your webcam isn't working well. Edward Brooks, Sharon Castillo Edwards is here as well. Dolly Anderson, and all the other folks joining us. If it's Thursday, I think there's a press conference coming up with the PNCR later on this morning. And of course, Papa Jagabat can have his own press conference later on in the day as well. And no doubt, we haven't seen the end of this discussion on who should approach who. And this handshaking thing that has hurt the core of Raven Ali. Every conversation he brings up, I give him a handshake. I give him a handshake. I saw somebody in the comments, a handshake, crying infant Ali. You know, I give him a handshake. That has hurt him to his core. What has happened to my hand? Well, you don't know people with hands these days, you know. You don't know. You know if a man just walk out the back alley someplace. Like, come on, shake your hands. You gotta be so careful in this COVID era too. You gotta be so careful. Sabi, you want to say something there?
No, sure.
You're trying to collect yourself. Camille Cox, good to see you there. Good to see you, June Ann and Glenford Gordon. Too Sweet GT. That's a name. That's not one of them names that's come out one of them alleys. Too Sweet GT. Jennifer, the light one, Yolanda Thomas, and Diane Gravesand and all the other folks. Listen, as you mentioned, Cameron always says democracy is a messy thing. We got to forge a way forward. Who shake hand, who vex still, and all that. We got to move this country forward. It's a bizarre engagement, Abby. You would hear nowhere else in the world.
Yeah.
You would hear nowhere else in the world. You see? And all the antics. It's a gift. It's a gift. That's going to do it for us. Tabby, you have the last word.
Sure. I looked at that. I was listening to that video of the president and Gordon Mosley, and kudos to Gordon Mosley as well. And it's sad because at the end of the day, you may not have voted for him, but he is the president. Whether he's installed or not, he is the president of the country. And you expect your president to have a particular demeanor, a particular way of handling himself, a particular approach to situations that could make you proud, whether or not you voted for him or not. And every time he's in front of a camera, I just feel as if we could do better, that he could do better, that he should aspire to do better while he is in this position, for how long he may be in this position for, because the children are looking up to him. He is the president. And, you know, and so I'm just hoping that he looks back at himself on these videos and find that, you know, that he could find some ways to shift how it is he approaches these situations. So, guys, have a good day.
Yep. Shifting with beauty and grace. That's the time. That's the program.
Have a good day. Enjoy your day.
Safe.
Please stay safe on the roads. Please stay safe on the roadways. And yes, I'll see you back here tomorrow morning.